So the reason we started this was because, um, my mom and my brother have thalassemia, and no one really knows about thalassemia in Australia, including medical professionals like doctors and nurses. So we wanted to raise more awareness, and we've done this by partnering up with a non-for-profit called Thalassaemmia and Sickle Cell Australia.
Perfect. That makes sense, and that's a good initiative.
Yeah. So our first question was, how has your experience of living with thalassemia been since childhood?
Oh, it's been full of challenges, of
Yeah.
course, and my sister has thalassemia
Yeah.
major. I'm a thalassemia minor, but of course, because we have the awareness, I think we'll come to that question later. But
Yeah.
it's not easy. The quality of life. I'm glad that she's been able to live up to the age of 40. William, you did interview Surbi, right? Who's got thalassemia major. That's my
Yes, we
younger
did.
sister. And it's hard. So I wish there was awareness enough for us to be able to avoid, children being born with thalassemia major if the proper screening can be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's chaotic. It's full of challenges because they're prone to infections. She's got now diabetes, so it's never been easy.
Yeah. So
And it takes the whole family, isn't it? Because
yeah.
everybody is kind of being the carer, and kind of it's like living on a you know uh, like a sandpit. You don't know what will happen when, and you're like,
Yeah.
or rather eggshells. You kind of just balancing yourself and hoping everything goes fine. So yes, and the awareness, even if now they are screening more, or they have the bone marrow transplant to be able to for the younger kids, but there's nothing for the kids who've grown older and the complications, right? So it's really hard. It's a very, very challenging journey.
Yeah. Sorry. Um so I think William had the next question.
Hello. How do you maintain a positive outlook on life despite these challenges?
Oh, wow. Of course, I am a lot into spirituality, so I do believe in a lot of positivity. And for me, my saving grace is my faith, and you kind of just keep going. There is no other way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you just keep going, and it's a bit scary because when your own sibling has thalassemia major, you don't know, today she's there, tomorrow she's not there. I mean, when we were growing up, the life expectancy was really less, right? A lot of her counterparts have passed away in their teens. So it's really hard, and I think it takes a constant reminder. It needs, I mean, I think that's what's brought me in spirituality, because you need a constant reminder for yourself to stay positive and not worry and kind of just surrender.
Yeah. And um you've lived with thalassemia for your whole life, but while you were a kid, what's something you wish you knew about thalassemia? Like that you've learned over the years?
Okay, so now I am a thalassemia minor. Are we talking about thalassemia minor, or are we talking about thalassemia major here?
Both.
Because I have an experience with both, right? I've got a
Yeah.
sibling who's a major. So let me give you both.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you both?
Alright.
Okay, so with thalassemia major, I wish there was screening for the fetus. I wish my parents had the awareness, like I am a thalassemia minor carrier. So when I was getting married, I ensured my husband, I got him screened that he's not a carrier. I've got 2 children. I have got them screened. So now one of them is a carrier and the other one isn't. So I wish my parents had that, you know, uh, awareness at that time. If not, at least they had the awareness to, and the facilities to be able to screen the fetus.
Yeah.
So that's for the major. And I also, and now that there is a lot going on about major, I do feel we are lagging behind when we talk about thalassemia minor. Like,
Yeah.
I am thalassemia minor. I do see, like now I have two children. One is a carrier, one isn't. Without even testing them, I knew who is a carrier because
Yeah.
of the skin color, the tone, and you're slightly pale, like I
Yeah.
am pale, and the stamina levels. Because of course, your blood cannot carry that kind of oxygen, right? So I get really breathless. I get fatigued early. I have a lot of body aches.
Yeah.
So I do personally feel that there's a huge gap in thalassemia minor awareness and how to manage it, especially it's kind of just ignored. Oh, you have thalassemia minor, so that's okay. Like when I delivered my first child, I had a C-section. My HB levels went down to 7. But they, in spite of them knowing I'm a thalassemia minor, before the delivery sheet kept the blood packs ready. But when they wouldn't check until I literally got dizzy.
Yeah.
It's so underrated and kind of not taken into account. Even now, when I go for my blood test, I always mention I'm a thalassemia minor. There are so many doctors who call me and say, "Oh, your HB is low." And I tell them, "Remember, I am a minor."
Yeah.
And then they're like, but you need iron supplements. No, thalassemia minor does not need, because this is not iron induced
Yeah.
anemia, right?
Yeah.
So have to tell them, I have to tell them, why don't you? So there are two components. Now they do the iron testing in my bloods, and that 99% comes out normal.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't aware, they would be pumping me with, iron supplements, whereas that's not what I need.
Yeah.
So there's a huge gap in the medical understanding of the whole thing as well.
Okay. And have you been in any advocacy campaigns for thalassemia minor or major?
Yeah, when I was back home in India, I mean, I do personally, at a personal level, when I meet people, I do talk to them about it, right? So that you never know where the word carries, and there's so many people who are still unaware. But at the same time, I also, when I was back home, during my teenage years, I was working with the Thalassemic Society, not working. My mom was working, and I would always support them when they have these, conferences. I would volunteer myself and kind of just spread the word.
Yeah.
And once you have a family member, you're always an advocate.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I am one now, isn't it?
Yeah. I think William has a few more questions.
Would you feel comfortable with sharing an experience or story related to your journey with thalassemia?
Oh, why not? But what do I talk about? I'm wondering. What am I supposed to talk? What can I talk about? The whole life has been a story, isn't it?
Yeah. Just anything that maybe stands out to you in a negative or positive way.
Yeah, I mean, so let's talk about the positive aspect of how it's brought me to live in the present moment and, kind of take life as it comes and just stay, just kind of have faith that things will work out, because I used to go to the hospitals with her. So one particular, incident I remember, when she was diagnosed with diabetes. So usually when you go for your transfusions, you're usually in a thalassemic area. So you kind of just do the transfusion. And only when you're entering or exiting, you see people, sometimes somebody's lost somebody or something. But that one was, she was in a children's ward. So there was a child there who was suffering with, I think, hydrocephalus. So different issues, right? So when you see that, I was 22, you see there's so much suffering out there, people who go through so much more than just this. And, you kind of just sit back and think, thank God, at least she can take transfusions and be alive, because there are people suffering and, kind of hanging in between, not knowing where this is going. And then you learn so much from those people, because beyond a certain point, you really can't do anything, right? You just kind of have to surrender and say, all right, let the doctors do it best. We are trying our best, and then life takes its course. So I think the most positive thing that it has brought into my life is a purpose. Also helped me, steer more into spirituality, and it's taught me the importance of life and kindness and compassion. So I help a lot of people now.
Yeah.
It can be anything, but I literally do a lot of social work just to be able to help people in need, because there have been so many times we've been in need and there was somebody who was there just offering a smile of words of faith or just comfort.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And how do you think workplaces and communities and hospitals can support and raise awareness for thalassemia?
Oh, I mean, I would say a lot can begin. I have not thought about it, but a lot can begin at the gynecology, the obstetrician and the gynec's office, because when people, I mean, nobody comes to the hospital when they're getting married, but once you've gotten married and everybody plans a child, right? Oh, they just come for the regular test. So the initial thing asks you, what's your age? Are you married? So if they're married, I think thalassemia minor screening should be made compulsory, because even if you're a child, even if you're a teenager, forget about the gynac. I mean, if it's once you know you have it, you'll always remember it. So then, as a teenager, if you're going to get married, you would always keep that in mind. I think more than screening at a time when it's the screening the fetus, I think it's so important that we are aware and we just avoid those circumstances.
Okay.
Like I do know my father. I don't remember clearly. I do remember vaguely that many years ago, my father had applied for immigration to Australia. That's many, many years ago. And it came through after my sister was born. And they were not accepting people with thalassemia major because they did not want them coming in. So I don't know if that explains to you why there are not many thalassemia major people there in Australia. I'm not sure. Or why there's no awareness, because they don't have many people with thalassemia major there.
Alright. Yeah, I also haven't met many people with thalassemia major in Australia. And so you mentioned that you tried to stay positive. What have you done to, have you done anything else to kind of support your mental and physical well-being?
For example, what?
For example, deep breathing, or maybe you picked up a hobby like playing soccer or cricket.
Okay, so I do a lot of gardening, so I'm a lot out in nature. Deep breathing is a part of my spiritual practice every day. So again, I am into spirituality. My work revolves around it. So and I have to say, one of the major precursors and push towards what I do today, I am a trained physical therapist, but I completely changed my career path, and I'm now a spiritual guide and a intuitive guide. The reason thalassemia was a major this thing, so that's the silver lining in the cloud, that I'm able to help so many people, because I was down there trying to find out answers as to why my sister's suffering so much, and why there is so much chaos around us all the time. And then it led me to choose this path. So for me, that now that I'm on this path, of course, a lot of deep breathing. I do a lot of gardening. I spend a lot of time in nature. That's how I recharge. One of my major, so it's called meditations and mindfulness, but it's a very cliched thing these days. It's become a lot more commercial, but it's as simple as just kind of coming in the moment. So I like to swim when I'm swimming. So if I'm really, really hassled, I just swim, because, once the water is inside your ears, you can't hear anything. And you just kind of get into that mode where the body takes over and you are able to just relax and kind of surrender to the universe.
And
a lot of physical exercise. Yes, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So deep breathing and swimming and gardening, has this all helped you relieve the stress? Because I'm thinking you'd be stressed that your sister has thalassemia major, and you also have a bit of difficulties with thalassemia minor.
Everything helps a little bit. everything helps a little bit. I see, and there's so many other aspects to it: slowing down, not being harsh on yourself. And I think it's not about related to thalassemia. This is an aspect which applies to everybody, because as a thalassemia minor, I've learned to live with it. So I appear very normal. It's only that, when I go through those aches and pains, I realize, oh, I cannot push myself harder than the others. But if you tell somebody I've got thalassemia, I say, oh, no big deal. But now that I compare to my sister, sometimes actually I tell her, I said, you're very lucky you have major. And she's like, why? I said, because when you are below 10, you can take transfusion and it reaches 11. But when I am 9, I'm usually 9.5.
Yeah.
And I cannot take transfusions.
Yeah.
Right? And she tells me, we can see on her face and her lips that around the 20, when the transfusion is due, she becomes pale, her energy levels go down. So I'm thinking, at least her body is giving signs. For us, it's like a permanent state. So I think it's all about perspectives and perception based. So how you look at it also makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I know. Does that answer your question?
Yes,
I'm
that
scared
does.
of-
I think William had the last few questions on like a Word doc.
Shoot, William. Please ask.
What do you think is the most important thing for the general public to understand about thalassemia?
How to prevent it, if you're a carrier or not.
So do you think there should be measures in place in preventing like more cases?
Yeah, I mean, just everybody should be aware to get a thalassemia screening done. That's it. It's a one-time test. It's such a super cheap test. Just get it done and be aware. That's it. I mean, I think that will solve and especially now with your generation of kids coming in, you guys are brilliant. Like, there's so much information. You guys are very aware. You guys are very action oriented. So
Yeah.
I think if each one of your generation is aware, a lot of it will be sorted.
Okay. And so our current plan was we've contacted a few local libraries to put up some flyers, and we also are trying to get on a radio station in Melbourne, and we're also
Amazing.
trying to so we know if like we've contacted a few clinics, and we want to try and put like the posters that you see in GP clinics or hospitals, because if someone sees
brilliant.
it, they may take a photo or they may tell a friend, and that can raise more awareness. But apart from
That's a
that,
brilliant thing.
is there anything else you think we can do to raise awareness?
Absolutely. How about having some talks in the schools with grade 11s and 12s who are already aware, and they will remember, because younger doesn't make sense, and you do not want to be handling a younger age than yours. But grade 11 and 12s, collaborate with schools, because I think what is your curriculum? Are you in an IB curriculum?
Yes, we are.
Brilliant. Then that adds to your social service as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the subject is called exactly. Ami, what is the social service called? Services actions, right?
Yeah. This is what our project is on, services action.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So then when you do those talks, it becomes, and see, now you guys are grade 9. Are you grade 9?
We are.
Yeah. Then you kind of just carry it through grade 10. Maybe this is what you want to look at your personal project. Who knows where this is going to go? And then this can carry you through to grade 12. Once you've initiated those talks and it becomes a loop, you will keep getting more opportunities like that.
Yeah.
Yes, so definitely collaborate with schools.
Okay.
Or colleges maybe, but I think colleges is not a time when, they're all full of life and they just want to have fun. So maybe grade 11 and 12.
Just before entering college.
Yeah, just put it through that, get this test done, so important. And, it will resonate because they have that memory. So it'll resonate. They will get the test done. They will always, and just give them the flyers. Those will go home. The parents will read as well. So you like kind of
Yep.
just,
Okay.
it's a domino effect all the time anyway.
Yeah. I think William had the last question, and then we'll be done. Thank you for letting us interview you. We have made a website which you can visit if you want.
Please send it to me. I like how William just smiles.
Yeah. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. Thanks for interviewing. And yeah,
Thank you as well. Thank you for interviewing me and having me.
that's
Thanks,
all right.
Chris and William.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Bye. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.